All right. So there's another part to this story, many parts actually, but one is the text messages and social media posts Perry made before the shooting as proof he's guilty of murder. Quote, might have to kill a few people. They are rioting outside my apartment complex. I might go to Dallas to shoot looters. We will show them why we say don't mess with Texas. You be the judge on whether this proves intent or a state of mind. But to be fair, our affiliate in Austin found this interview of Garrett Foster, the person who was shot with the AK-47, on the night. Here he is talking about why he has an AK-47 and whether or not he would use it.
I think all the people that hate us and, want to say to us are too big of a stop and actually do anything about it.
So that's the state of the mind of the two men. With us now, Perry's attorney, Clint Broden. He's requesting a retrial. Help us understand sort of just basic facts here. Your client's in jail. How long till he goes to prison? How does the retrial play into the issue of whether or not there would be a pardon?
Well, the retrial itself has been denied.
All right, so the pardon process begins, and I'm wondering how you explain those text messages when the issue of state of mind and self-defense is so important.
Well, the way to explain it, and some of the text messages are certainly troublesome, but one thing you have to distinguish between is Sergeant Perry's feeling about looters and rioters, and we saw some of those things going on in the protests, and people peacefully exercising their First Amendment right. I heard you in the beginning of the segment say that Garrett Foster was legally carrying an AK-47 assault rifle. He was not. It is against the law in Texas to brandish any kind of weapon, and brandishing means carrying it in a manner likely to arouse fear in somebody. So Garrett Foster was not carrying the assault rifle legally that day. When Sergeant Perry made that turn, his car was surrounded. Protesters admitted to kicking on the car, rocking the car, punching the car, battering the car, vandalizing the car. And while this is going on, Garrett Foster approaches Sergeant Perry brandishing that weapon. Meanwhile, the car is boxed in. So while, again, the text messages are troublesome, they don't change the facts of what happened that night on July 25th, 2020.
Are you worried at all that the parole board, which has to make this recommendation to Governor Abbott, is going to see these text messages and go, gee, this is a little bit different perhaps than what we've been told about this case, which is that Sergeant Perry just happened upon this crowd and gee whiz, he was surrounded and he had to defend himself. This sounds an awful lot like a guy who was going out looking for a fight. How do you defend that?
Well, as I said, it's certainly something, the text messages are troubling and something we were not able to overcome at trial. It is something the Board of Pardon and Paroles will consider, but they'll also have other things to consider that people did not get to hear at trial. One, in fact, was that video you just played of Garrett Foster and his comments that evening, some of which had to be bleeped out. The other are Garrett Foster's text messages where he celebrated the blinding of police officers, the torching of police stations, and advocating for violent protests. So you really have social media on both sides.
This case has become much more than just a legal case, right? It is now a political case.
Oh, I think one side or the other is going to be upset. People have drawn lines in this case. But what people don't understand is this was a political prosecution from the get-go. The district attorney in Austin is the lead investigator in this case, did a very thorough investigation, a 900-page plus police report, and he has signed an affidavit saying that he believes that his grand jury testimony was criminally tampered with in order to obtain the indictment in this case.
We admire you advocating for your client and strongly, obviously, the offer to the Travis County DA to come here and talk anytime. We also really appreciate you talking about those other things that'll come. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.